Happy Tuesday, you guys. It's your favorite sports chica, Carolina Teague, and it is episode, I don't know what, we're over 52 episodes, though. We're almost on episode 100 coming up soon, and it's League of Our Own, my podcast here with Gylon Jackson, and of course, our intern, Jaden at VodPod Media Studios. Welcome back, you guys. I'm here at VodPod Media Studios with my guy, radio husband, and producer, Gylon Jackson, who's been doing an incredible job lately, and he's making sure everything is running smoother than olive oil on a baby's behind. We got lots to get into today. A lot of surprising news. Aaron Rodgers and Jimmy Kimmel going at each other. Justin Fields, should the Chicago Bears trade their number one pick and or should they get rid of Justin Fields? What should the Bears do? And my top 5 NFL picks and the Russell Wilson drama with the Denver Broncos. Who is in the wrong? The last time we let off, it was 2023, about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and we ended on a dramatic note the last time we had our show. Gylon and I were going off about Josh Giddey, and it was really, that was the last show. And it was actually one of our highest rated podcasts to date. So if you're still with us, we're really happy to have you guys on. We were very, very, very passionate and emotional about our thoughts on Josh Giddey and whether it was right or wrong for his situation with the alleged situation with the young minor. And I remember thinking to myself, you know, I was triggered by certain words that Gylon had used, and I started realizing why people put trigger warnings on these specific words. And it was after the podcast ended that I realized those words trigger me, like the assault words, sexual assault, all those type of words. They trigger me because as somebody who was a victim of sexual abuse when I was younger, or when I was a young adult, should I say, those things trigger me. So it was very hard for me to, I kept my composure obviously on camera and during the podcast, but it was after the podcast where I became extremely emotional, and it was a lot for me to deal with. So I understand now why trigger warnings are on those types of sensitive subjects, but it made for a great podcast, all the emotion behind me and Gylon, but those emotions, they came from a real place. And so I encourage anybody who has been down that path and is a victim or has seen sexual assault or anything of that nature is to make sure that you get the help that you need and the therapy that you need in order to recognize those triggers and learn how to prevent them in the future. So yeah, it was a lot of fun though, and we had a really good time, and a lot of people were getting on Gylon for his opinion, and I love it because, well, I love people getting on the both of us, because whether you are on my side or Gylon's side, I love the fact that we can get together and we can have these debates that nobody else really wants to talk about. We're not afraid to tackle tough subjects. And that's one of the things that I love about being on League of Our Own and VodPod Media, is that I have the access and I have the visibility, the access, and I have the microphone behind me to be able to talk about these sensitive subjects without risk of getting fired. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun though. Gylon, the last time I saw you, it was in that particular episode. So if you have anything else to add on to that, you can. And I want to know how you. I'm like, why? Because I want to remind people where we last left off. That's what people usually do on new episodes. Hey, we kind of left off here. This is our next show.
You messed up. I mean, I understand. So not everybody can be perfect.
Shut up.
What? I'm just saying.
Okay, so with the exception of that, I mean, do you have thoughts? And if you don't, understandable. But I would like to ask you as well.
Mm-hmm.
How was your 2023 with the exception of all that? The rest of it.
It's 2023, man. You know, it's like, listen, I'm on a whole nother. Ooh, somebody said echo.
Let us know where the echo is coming from. Is Gylon echoing, or am I echoing as the host? If there is an echo, let us know. So that way we can tackle it while the show is live. And thank you for letting us know. Who said that? Shout out to him.
Miss Becky.
Okay, shout out to Miss Becky. Let us know where you hear the echo from.
She said it's bad. Hold on a second. Sorry, peoples.
So we have an echo at the moment that we're trying to tweak and fix. So if you guys can no longer hear the echo, please let us know. I do hear. Oh.
Yeah, hold on one second. Let me see something here.
Okay. Hold
Sorry,
on,
guys.
We apologize, guys.
Hey, but the lighting looks great today.
We fixed the lighting for the show, so the lighting looks spectacular. But I do have an echo, so we're going to try to fix that really quickly, and then we'll keep rolling with the show. So if you guys are still with us, we really appreciate you guys for hanging in with our echo issues.
Yeah,
Because
one quick second, guys.
we got a lot to get into today, trust me. So I'm excited about the things that we got to talk about. Echo.
Keep on talking.
Echo. Do you have an echo? Do you have an echo? Do you have an echo? Is there an echo? Is there an echo? Let me know. Let me know if there's an echo. Carolina has an echo when Gylon comes on. Okay, that's what they're saying. So whenever you come on, I have an echo. Fixed. They said fixed. Okay. Let us know if it's fixed. If it's fixed, tell us. That would be awesome. We're going to keep Gylon on the camera, and if it's fixed, we're just going to keep it rolling. Do you hear the echo still, Gylon? Okay. People are putting the heart, so I'm assuming that means the echo is fixed.
I don't have an echo right now.
Okay. So you don't hear an echo either?
So no more echo.
Okay, perfect. The echo's gone. Okay.
Hold on.
So echo still. Oh, shit. Okay. So Becky and Cedric are saying that there's an echo.
Test 1 2 3.
Test 1 2 3. Why don't we just keep you off the camera for the show? If that's okay.
Well,
that way we can and then just talk through the
okay, hold on one second. Hold on.
Okay.
Give me one quick second.
Sorry guys, we have an echo. Man, I'm so excited for this show. And we got a damn echo. We got 34 people watching live. Okay. Now it's 33. All right, guys. We do apologize for the echo. I'm gonna cry. I was looking forward to the show.
Test 1 2 3.
Test 1 2 3.
Test 1 2 3.
Test 1 2 3. This echo is brought to you by. It's not fixing.
Hold on.
Slight echo from Carolina. Okay.
Keep on going. Just go.
Okay. Yeah. I have a slight echo, so I'm just gonna keep going for now. Do you want to take yourself off the camera? Because they say when you come on, there's an echo. If you can remove yourself, and then we'll just roll from there, and then you can just talk to the camera. Is that an option?
But I don't know if that's actually what's happening. I know that's what they're saying, but I don't know if that's actually what's happening.
Okay. So why don't you take yourself off, and I can ask them if there's an echo. Yeah. And then see if that works. Okay, if you guys can not hear the echo when Gylon is off, then we can continue the show this way. That way we can fix that echo situation. If there's still an echo, then we're going to have to figure this out. We tested the microphones before the show started, and sometimes when we go live, things change a little bit differently. Okay, so they're saying there's no echo when you're not on. But if you talk, I want to see if you have an echo. Are you able to talk without coming on camera, Gylon? Hello? Gylon? Are you able to talk without coming on camera? Okay, so I lost Gylon. He's like, okay. Okay, so I'm just going to keep rolling with the show, and then we'll fix it in the back end, and then we'll come on at a different time. But we got a lot to get into today. So basically, if you guys just are catching up, I was saying the last time we let off on 2023, Gylon and I got into a conversation that was very, very emotional and dramatic. And it was actually our best episode
And
yet.
I just came on. Now there's
Okay, so let's just roll without you being on and then just talk to me through the microphone if that's okay. Are you good with that? Okay, let's do that so we can just continue the show. Okay, so basically it was like a lot of fun. And Gylon, I want to ask you, how was your 2023? Yeah, we can hear you. I can hear you. Mm-hmm. Gylon? Gylon, okay. It's I can hear you listening to the show, and we can hear you. Yeah, so just we'll just have you talk without. Yeah, don't listen to the show, just listen to me live and then just react, and then they'll hear that without the echo, and I think we'll be fine. Do you think that'll work? Oh, they're saying Gylon has it. Okay. All right. So basically, it was a lot of emotional stuff. Gylon, we have an echo with him, so unfortunately he's not going to be on because, you know, things happen, especially when you have a podcast and you go live, and sometimes there's echoes and things that we can't control, and we could try to fix them live, but that's not going to help with the flow of the show. But luckily, Gylon is a trooper, and he doesn't need to be on the show today. I'm going to miss my sidekick being on the show with me. And to bounce reactions off of, but I'm sure I can bounce reactions off of you guys. We'll put your live reactions up during the show. That way we can have fun with them. So there was a lot of drama. First of all, I want to talk about my 2023 goals. I don't know what Gylon's 2023 goals are, but I know that he's trying to expand his podcast, which he does a fantastic job, by the way. I know my goals, personal goals, are to save money, and I'm doing this thing called the $50 challenge, 50-day challenge. You save $1 a day on day 1, $2 a day on day 2, and then you go to day 50, and then boom, you should have $1,275 by the end of day 50. That's my goals for the new year. And I'm also trying to get a full-time job in sports while doing my podcast on the side, and of course doing wrestling. So I have a lot of goals. If you guys have goals for 2023, let me know what those goals are. We'll post your goals live during the show to have a lot of fun. Now, Aaron Rodgers and Jimmy Kimmel, about an hour ago or 2 hours ago now, got into a little spat on social media, Twitter, X, if you will, over the Jeffrey Epstein list. I don't know if you guys ever heard of Jeffrey Epstein and what happened with him. Some people are fully engulfed in the sports world, so I totally understand if you guys don't know who Jeffrey Epstein is, or maybe you're living under a rock, but Jeffrey Epstein was essentially this entrepreneur who was a billionaire who had affiliate ties with a lot of billionaires and a lot of prominent, powerful people in the world, to be exact. He had an island, and he was accused, and it was alleged that he had an island where he was bringing young women there, and those young women were victims of, I would say, sexual abuse. Exactly, sexual abuse. And he's according to Amy Roper on ABC News, he's one of the most prolific pedophiles in the country, and he had this particular list of his clients who he would bring to the island or who he would work directly with. And on that list is set to be released sometime soon, allegedly, because this client list, the reason why people are so into the client list and who were Jeffrey Epstein's clients is because they're prominent people in our community. And if, in fact, they're his clients, then they need to be investigated per the rest of the world, right? Because these people could have been on the island sexually assaulting these women as well. So everybody is really heavy into this news today. According to social media, the list was supposed to be released today. Now, this isn't the first time the list was supposed to be released, so I just want to make that clear. So the flight logs have already been released, and It's okay. The flight logs are one different from the client list. So the flight logs have already been released, but the client list is totally separate, and it was supposed to be released today. Well, that became news on the Pat McAfee show, where Aaron Rodgers gets paid a ton of money to give his commentary on certain things. And he had these comments to say about the Epstein list that was supposed to be released today. We're all looking forward to the release. It never was released, by the way. And we're going to see Jimmy Kimmel's reaction to what Aaron Rodgers said. We're going to tell you what Jimmy Kimmel said. So here's what Jimmy Kimmel said on the show. Yeah, this is how Jimmy Kimmel kicked it off. Okay, let's go.
Needless to say, all this UFO talk has the tinfoil hatters going wild, including Green Bay whackpacker Aaron Rodgers, who offered this hot take on the Pat McAfee show.
I believe that this has been going on for a long time. Interesting timing on everything. There's a lot of other things going on in the world. Did you hear about the Epstein client list about to be released too?
What's that? What are you talking about?
There's some files that have some names on it that might be getting released pretty soon.
Oh.
Might be time to revisit that concussion protocol, Aaron.
So this is what Jimmy Kimmel said, and Aaron Rodgers reacted to it. We have Aaron Rodgers' reaction next, correct? I believe so. We're gonna
Bring it up, Foxy or somebody back there.
Seats on it.
Bring up Super Bowl 58.
You'll see it.
The emblem. Put it on the screen. And then bring up 57 and 56.
Does that have something to do with the Epstein list that came out?
Feels like.
That's supposed to be coming out soon.
Look, this guy's been waiting in his wine cellar.
Yeah.
I've been waiting in my wine cellar for this thing.
A lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, are really hoping that doesn't.
All right. Obviously, a clip from this particular program was run on Jimmy Kimmel's show whenever Aaron brought up the list, and then Jimmy mocked him for it. Mm-hmm. Aaron has not forgotten about that, but here we are sitting right in front of that nice bottle of scotch. Mm-hmm. What do you say? I'm waiting to celebrate something.
Oh, yeah.
He's been waiting.
That's the one.
You've been waiting.
Hey, I'll tell you what, if that list comes out, I definitely will be popping some sort of bottle.
Hey, you've been calling for it for a few years now. Anyone else?
Now, Gylon, do we have... Now, obviously, things were getting spicy because he said Jimmy Kimmel was going to be on Jeffrey Epstein's client list. Do we have Jimmy Kimmel's tweet with his reaction, Gylon? If not, then I'll just read it off to them. If we do, great. If we don't, then, I'll just look it up. Okay, so... Obviously, there was a banter back and forth, and Jimmy Kimmel was pretty pissed off. And he reacted on Twitter, and he said, hey, asshole. He said asshole with 2 A's, implying, it's for Aaron Rodgers with 2 A's. Hey, asshole. For the record, I've not met, flown with, visited, or had any contact whatsoever with Jeffrey Epstein, nor will you find my name on any list other than the clearly phony nonsense that soft-brained wackos like yourself can't seem to distinguish from reality. Your reckless words put my family in danger. Keep it up, and we will debate the facts in court. Ooh! So... both of these two gentlemen are going at it back and forth. I mean, Jimmy Kimmel is really upset with these allegations that he was on Jeffrey Epstein's client list. Now, a lot of people are saying, Jimmy Kimmel is a comedian. If he can be able to dish jokes, then he should be able to be the butt of the joke sometimes. And Aaron Rodgers was joking in a sense when he said that Jimmy Kimmel was on Epstein's list. But I can see why Jimmy Kimmel took that really seriously and basically said, I'm going to sue you if you insinuate that I'm one of these people who was partaking in the sexual assault of women on this particular island. I can see why he took that really seriously and was angry. But I'm here for it. I'm here for sports being intertwined with the Epstein list. Aaron Rodgers is not my particular cup of tea. He's not my favorite person in the world. But I love the fact that I get to talk about this because he is just as glued to the Jeffrey Epstein client list as we all are. Now, he may be a future Hall of Famer and a Super Bowl champion, but he's just like each and every single one of us. He wants to know the truth. Who is on that goddamn Jeffrey Epstein client list? We would like to know the answers. We're all looking out for it. And We don't know who is on the list, honestly. That's why we're all glued to it. But if Jimmy Kimmel is not on the list, does he have grounds to potentially sue? I think perhaps he does, but I don't think he should, because, I mean, he was, if you're a comedian and you dish out jokes that put people in harm, you can also be able to take this one on the chin and just let it go. Now, obviously, there's going to be beef between the two of them, but it just pretty crazy how a big time comedian went at Aaron Rodgers. Honestly, that's how I felt. And Enrique Alvarez is saying that's Aaron sucks and he one and done, period. That's hilarious. And Alamo City Media Group is you and I. Now we have our what else we're getting into today? Oh, Justin Fields and the Bears. They now have the #1 pick in the 2024 draft. Bears didn't make the playoffs, which was really unfortunate because they were finally getting on their hot streak, and you were finally starting to see the glue gel together between this team and the offensive line. But they could not clinch. They were in the hunt and could not get their spot in the playoff berth. I'm really hurt about that, but I have stuff to look forward to. There was a lot of great flashes of greatness with the Chicago Bears organization. I personally went to my first Bears game, and I was surprised that they beat one of the top teams in the NFL, the Detroit Lions, after getting blasted by them early on in the season. So you see these type of teams that start off pretty slow, and then they start getting this hot streak. Unfortunately, they couldn't move forward, but I wonder if they would have made it to the playoffs. Could they have, had a good run? I believe they could have. But Bears now have the #1 pick, and they also have the number 10 pick in the 2024 NFL draft. And a lot of people are saying, should the Bears keep Justin Fields, or should they let him go and get a quarterback in their first pick? And my personal answer is no. I don't think that the Bears should give up Justin Fields. It's I feel like it's very media propaganda-ish that they are even discussing the fact if Justin Fields is up to be traded, because Justin Fields has proven himself to be a good quarterback with all of the scraps that he's been given. You could say that the past 2 years prior were not necessarily good for him, but I can argue that the play calling wasn't that great for the team, nor were the pieces around him on the offensive line great for him to be the quarterback that he should be. And out of the draft that he was drafted out of in 2022, I believe that he was one of the better quarterback picks, and the Bears made a good pick with him. Chicago is synonymous with being blasted for their quarterbacks. You can go through Trubisky, you can go through Rex Grossman, and you can see that the Chicago media and the national media likes to pick apart Chicago quarterbacks. That's their stick. And usually when you see the Chicago Bears on the news, it's because their quarterback's getting picked apart. But in Justin Fields' case, he's shown tremendous improvements this year, and he has a wide receiver in DJ Moore. He has Cole Kmet as a tight end, and they seem to be improving drastically, and I don't think getting rid of Justin Fields and drafting a quarterback at #1 would be the smart thing to do, especially since they have the #1 and the number 10 pick. I think, if anything, they should trade down a couple spots, perhaps, to another team that could that needs a quarterback for that pick, and get somebody like Will Harrison. That's the person, or Marvin Harrison. I'm sorry, Marvin Harrison Jr. is my top pick, because the Bears have, this need for him. And for me, he has a connection with DJ Moore as a wideout. So for me, I think it would go together really well. And there's also Bears players that are liking tweets about Marvin Harrison Jr. It wouldn't surprise me if this is who they pick. And especially when there's a connection between players, it's more likely that they're going to pick him. But we'll see what direction that the Bears go in. So I'm excited for their future. And hopefully the Bears make the smart choice and get Marvin Harrison Jr. because everybody who's a Bears fan wants them to have him on the team. Now Gylon vanished, and I feel crazy being, by myself with him. But Ruru Santiago says that Fields is a stud. They'd be stupid to get rid of him. They need to build around him. He has no help. And I totally agree with that. Also, it is so weird not talking without Gylon, so I need to get used to that. They have stats here too. We got stats coming up from Alamo City Media. Russell Wilson. Let's talk about the drama that is Russell Wilson. For me, this has honestly been, this story has been like the creme de la creme for me, because I have been going back and forth in my mind about this situation. Russell Wilson was benched by the Broncos recently because he allegedly did not, or not allegedly, Russell Wilson said out of his own mouth he didn't want to postpone his injury stipulation on his contract. And it wasn't, they said that he didn't want to redact it, but it was not necessarily redacting the entire injury clause. He didn't want to postpone it. And that's understandable, because as an NFL quarterback, when you sign a contract, or just an NFL player in general, when you sign a contract with the NFL, you want to make sure that your agent gets all the stipulations, all the negotiations, everything out of the way, so that way you're in the best position possible for your career and moving forward. Well, I'm sure their negotiations took some time, and his agent made sure that that specific verbiage with that specific date for taking that injury money was in that contract as well. So when he signed this massive contract, then the Broncos do something which I would deem to be a bad business deal. They went to Russell Wilson and said, hey, if you don't push back on or do what we say in regards to postponing this injury clause, we're going to have you benched. So what would you like to do? And not to mention, he was already getting more hot as the season went on. He wasn't having the worst season of his life. He was warming up. And Russell Wilson is a class act quarterback. He is one of the people, when I look at in the NFL, as, one of the top quarterbacks, not necessarily because of how they're currently playing. He's a veteran player, and he didn't play as good as he used to, but he is a leader. He has the qualities of a good person, kind of like Dak Prescott. You can argue about, their stats on the field, but he's, represents any team that he's a part of very well. So for them to put him in this position to either be benched if he doesn't go back on his injury clause, I thought that was pretty ridiculous on the Broncos' part. So I thought about who's wrong in this situation, Russell Wilson or the Broncos. And I'm with the Broncos. I think the Broncos were totally messed up in this situation, because Russell Wilson shouldn't have to go back in mid-season on a contract that he already signed now. And it also makes the Broncos look bad. Like, look at all the free agents that could be with the Broncos next season or the next season coming up after. The first thing they're going to look at is, hey, if you're going to treat the quarterback this way, and if you're going to try to bench him because even though he's performing well, because he signed a contract and you guys don't want to go back on, or you guys want him to go back on an injury clause, why should we sign with this team if they're going to give us those type of problems? And Russell Wilson is looking good, because he is still playing. He said he was still playing at his highest caliber. He was still, throughout all this drama, when all these talks were going on whether he was going to be benched or not, he was still performing at a high rate level. And any team that's looking to get Russell Wilson in the future is going to say, hey, despite all that drama that was going on with the Broncos organization, he still played his ass off, and he's showing up every single day up until the time that he's benched. It's not like he quit on the team. They benched him. There's a lot of players that quit on their teams, but he made it clear in the post press conference that he didn't want to be benched, that he wanted to play to get a championship. So that makes the Broncos organization look bad. And I think the Broncos are totally wrong. It's a dumpster fire over there with the Broncos organization, if we're going to be honest. Now, like I said, like, you look at the Spurs situation with Kawhi and all this stuff. And people can argue and debate all day long on whether free agents want to go to the Spurs that are huge because of how that situation unraveled. That's a whole nother debate for another day. But if an organization doesn't treat a player right, which Kawhi is nothing like Russell Wilson, by the way, I'm just using an example, then I can see why free agents who are players, who are pro player, people are going to put themselves in Russell Wilson's shoes and they're not going to want to play for that team. And I think it was a horrible look for them. Alamo City said refusing contract change, stood up for himself. He has a 98 quarterback rating, over 3K yards. Larry Richardson says, remember this the next time your favorite player has to sit out because he wants what he's worth. And it's not even he wants what he's worth. It's he wants what he signed for. This is a business at the end of the day. If I sign for something, then I better get that in return, especially if I'm still willing to play, if I'm still trying to become a championship team. I really want to see how this all unravels, and any team that does get Russell Wilson, I think that they would be blessed to have him, whether he's a second string quarterback because he's an aging quarterback, or if he's a starter, or if he takes less money. There's still going to be a need for his position, and any team would be lucky to have somebody of that caliber. So that's where I stand with that. Now let's see if they have any more comments. I don't see them. Oh snap. Okay, so here are the NFL power rankings for the top 5 teams in the NFL for this week. They were just released 15 hours ago. Now I'm going to tell you guys whether I agree with these picks or not. So let's see. First, we got the Buffalo Bills, and let's see. They went up in their ranking. They're now 10-6, and Von Miller is on and off the field. His contract is something to watch. They said he's under contract till 2027 on a 6-year, $120 million deal. But if they decided to move on, it could result in some cap space, but leave significant dead cap in 2024. His role is in question, and he's also facing a felony assault charge. But besides that, they're still just driving through, and I honestly think they're one of the best teams in the AFC East. So I think they're kind of right where they need to be as far as performance is concerned. The Detroit Lions, their team also too. I'm actually going to switch 3 and 4. The Cowboys and the Lions. I think the Lions should be at number 3. Actually, depending on who you ask, I can see why they are number 3, because the Cowboys had a tougher division. They also had a tougher schedule than the Detroit Lions, and the NFC North is way less brutal than the Dallas Cowboys division, the NFC East. So I can see why the power rankings have the Cowboys at 3 and the Detroit Lions at 4, obviously, for looking at their schedule, how they perform, et cetera, et cetera. But I can't help to remind myself about this past game this weekend where the Lions got robbed. And if the Lions would have won that game, then the Eagles, would have had the edge up. So for me, do the Cowboys really deserve to be ahead of the Lions? The robbery really rubs me the wrong way, and I really can't get past those initial feelings. So I think the Lions should have easily won, and I'm going to switch 3 with 4. San Francisco versus the Baltimore Ravens. I think they're right where they need to be. There's a lot of talk on, if Lamar Jackson is going to be the MVP for the NFL, and I think that he should rightfully be the MVP of the NFL, because the Ravens have had, let me look up the Ravens schedule real quick while I'm here with you guys. See, it's weird without Gylon because I'm just talking to myself, but the Ravens have had a way more brutal schedule than the San Francisco 49ers. They even played the 49ers. They dominated against the 49ers, 33-19. They went up against the Rams. They went up against the Chargers, the Jags, the Dolphins. And for me, Lamar Jackson is MVP worthy to become a quarterback. And there was a lot of talk recently because there were comments that he was not quarter enough. But I disagree with that completely. Lamar Jackson threw for almost 300 yards before the first half of the game this past Sunday. So the Ravens, to me, are the top team to beat in the NFL. They've been dominating all week after week after week. And the San Francisco 49ers are also a team to beat as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw them too in the Super Bowl. And this is who my picks are for the Super Bowl. So it's going to be, I think Baltimore and the 49ers are going to be that team to beat to get to the Super Bowl. And the 49ers, every single year, they're in the playoffs. They're consistent. They have that playoff. The word that I'm looking for is like, oh God, I'm so nervous without Gylon. So I apologize, you guys. But they have that consistency with being in the playoffs. So they have that. They can get through the playoffs because they've been through it before. The word is at the tip of my tongue that I'm looking for. So fuck all that. Oh my God, this is the worst podcast ever today. But I'm powering through, Gylon. I know, I'm trying. I just can't do it without you. No, I'm just kidding. But for me, like I said, Ravens are my top pick for sure to win the Super Bowl. And there's talks on whether, the 49ers are a better team and if Christian McCaffrey should be the MVP over Lamar Jackson because he's also had a breakout year. And I say no. And the reason why is because, like I said, the Baltimore Ravens have had a tougher schedule and they've been able to power through that. And if you want to call me biased, you can, but Lamar Jackson is one of the better quarterbacks. He's always been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And he's one of Gylon's favorite quarterbacks. That's why I wish he was here talking about it. He has always been doubted as a quarterback throughout his entire career because he's had those flashes of strings. We gotta somebody kick it back. Lions weren't robbed. They should have never had the ball. A tripping call was calling us when it was clearly on Detroit and they would have had that game. See, this is why I don't like talking about robberies, because the other opposing team always says there was a call that wasn't called and the other team would have won. But I do think at least they're giving you guys a 3. That's what I'm saying. Just be happy that y'all are in the damn third. But do I think that the Cowboys can win the Super Bowl? No, I'm just going to be honest. I think it's got to be the 49ers or the Baltimore Ravens. And the only reason why I could give the 49ers the edge up if they make it to the top is because of the fact that they have that, that's the word I'm looking for, experience. The experience in the playoffs to power through. They've made it to the top a few times in the past couple years. So they have that experience to get to the top and win a Super Bowl. That would be the only reason why I'd give the edge up. But a good quarterback can always win you a Super Bowl. And I'm hoping that Lamar Jackson takes him to the top. He deserves it out of everybody because he is quarterbacky enough. He is good enough. And I hope that he puts to everybody, especially all the doubters in the NFL, that this is his time. And that's who I'm actually rooting for the Super Bowl. So that's my list. I powered through without anybody to bounce off ideas from, which I'm not used to. But I'm glad you guys powered with me, and thanks for sticking with me throughout this whole ass show. Wait, what did he say? There was a comment that we had. Hi, Art. Thanks for joining us today. 49ers have that playoff pedigree. See, thank y'all for helping me get through the show without Gylon, because Gylon had an echo today. If Gylon have that damn echo, we would have been fine. I am actually going to start doing a daily podcast soon by myself at my house. So this is actually really good practice, Gylon. Really good practice. So thank you guys for joining me today. Tomorrow or next week, we're going to be back. Hopefully Gylon is with me, so I'm not having mental slips in my mind. Oh my God, this is probably like this was one of the worst episodes. I'm just going to fucking say it right now. How the hell did I mess up my top 5 list so bad? I don't know. I just got super nervous and just didn't want to talk, but I'm glad you guys powered through with me. Thanks for dealing with my shitty list and going through the breakdown on why I feel like these teams deserve it and these teams didn't. But I want to know your guys' thoughts on the Russell Wilson situation because I'm obsessed with that particular topic. You guys got to let me know who you guys think is in the wrong, who you guys think is in the right. And you guys also got to let me know, is Justin Fields worthy of being on the Chicago Bears team? And also let me know what your NFL top 5 is. And do you believe that the Cowboys can win a Super Bowl? I say no. And I think it could go to the Ravens or it could go to the 49ers. Let me know what you guys think. Next week, we're going to be back better than ever. Happy 2024. And this is the start of a new year. So let me know what your guys' goals are for this upcoming year. And I love you guys.